Hi everyone, my name is Ariana. I am the artist behind Clutches Galore Studio. Today I am going to be showing you how to make my signature clutch bag from start to finish. I have been getting a lot of requests from both my YouTube, my TikTok, my Instagram on making a tutorial on how to make the clutch bag. So I finally was able to record it and edit it. Also my first YouTube video, so I'm finally facing my fear on talking on camera and I'm just going for it. I am aware that this is a step that I need to take, so here I am, my first official YouTube video. So if you love handmade accessories and want to learn some sewing techniques and also follow my journey behind Clutches Galore and building my business and building my confidence, facing my fear of talking on camera and showing up on camera and showing authentically, then you're in the right place. I hope you guys enjoy my channel. Please subscribe, please follow, please share, and I hope you enjoy the video. Bye. So let's get started. What you're going to need is 2 pieces of exterior fabric, 2 pieces of interior fabric, and 2 pieces of Pelon 70 interface and a 14-inch YKK metal zipper, and then a pocket of any size that you want to cut. We're going to take 1 exterior piece and line it up on top of 1 interface piece, and then just clip that down. And then you're going to grab your zipper and you're going to face it down and line it from the left side to the right. Then you're going to take your exterior piece and put that on top of the zipper like a sandwich. So it's going to be interface, exterior fabric, zipper, and then interior fabric. And we're going to take this to the sewing machine and sew it down. This is the settings of my machine. I don't know if they're perfect, but it's what's working for me. And right here, we're going to change the needle position to the left side. And it's very important that you line up the zipper foot right against the zipper teeth. This gets a nice straight stitch. I like to take my finger and just line it up right here so I can make sure that I am sewing the same distance from the zipper teeth. And just do that all the way to the bottom. Now we're going to take the first piece that we sewed, and right here on the top we're going to take the interface and we're going to bend it down. Then we're going to open it up and close the zipper and take off the clips. And we're going to take the lining piece and we're going to smooth it over the interface as flat as possible. And then hold it down. Now sometimes the fabric will stretch. I personally don't know how to prevent that. If anybody has some advice, please let me know in the comments. And you see this little lump right here, I don't like that, so we're going to sew that down. Right here, I do not like to top stitch because just in case I make any mistakes, at least I don't mess up the clutch. So what I do is that I would open it up and I would top stitch under the top fabric. Right here, we're just going to smooth it out to make sure there's no lumps. And take the iron and iron it down to make sure that it is flat as possible. And then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and sew down at, I think it's 1/2 inch. I just put the needle position in the middle. I'm not very good with understanding the whole seam allowance thing, so I'm just going to describe it the best way possible. We're just going to sew across here with the needle position in the middle. Now, I've made this mistake before. Please make sure that the exterior piece is not folded under the part that we're sewing. It has to be all the way to the right side. And once we're done with that, this is the end result. If you see, it's not lumpy and it's not thick. Now we're just going to smooth it out and clip it down. Right here, I am trimming any excess. As I mentioned before, for some reason the lining likes to stretch. I don't know how to prevent it, so I just cut it off. Now we're going to take the second exterior piece, iron it a little just in case it got wrinkled, and the interior piece and the interface. And we're going to take the interface, find a straight edge, take the exterior piece and line it up on top. Use as many clips as you want. Then we're going to take the first piece that we sewed and we're going to turn it face down, open up the zipper, and line up the top edge with the zipper. And before we do the second lining, we're gonna prepare the pocket. This piece I cut 10 inches by 5. I'm not really particular on what sizes I cut the pockets. I just take a random piece and I interface half of it with Craft Fuse 808. Is a thin interface with a glue on one side, and we're gonna stitch 2 sides of the square and leave 1 opening. I usually change my needle position all the way to the right, and then I sew 2 sides from the fold. If you see here, this is where it's open. We're gonna sew down and to the left and leave 1 opening on the left side. And then watch how I flip the pocket inside out and sew it onto the lining. And now we're ready to sew down the pocket. I used some double-sided sticky tape in order to hold the pockets down. I just cut 2 small pieces and put it on the top corner and iron it down. I usually place the pocket 2 inches from the top, so I take my ruler and 2 inches from the top of the fabric, I line up my pockets and I sew it down. And right here we're just going to sew the 3 sides of the square, not the top. And once we're done sewing it, this is what's going to look like. We're going to take the second piece of the lining and we're going to lay it face down on top of the other lining. And change the needle position again to the left and just sew it down. Once again, make sure that the presser foot is right against the teeth of the zipper. Now we're going to open it up and close the zipper. We're going to take the side that we just finished and we're going to sew down that interface. Remember the lump that it usually has on top? We're going to sew that down. Make sure that the side that you are sewing only has the lining and the interface. The exterior should be held on the opposite side. Do not sew those pieces together. Fold the interface down, smooth the lining over it, pin it down or clip it down to make sure that it is flat as possible, and then we're going to sew it. I usually use my scissors to make it even more flat and then the iron to make it even more flat. We're going to change the needle position again to the middle and we're going to sew down the lining onto the interface. Now on the right side, you're going to have all the pieces of the interface and the exteriors. You're going to fold that in half to take it out of the way of the sewing machine. And then just sew down the lining against the interface. This is the end result. This is the way it looks. Take off all the clips. And now we're going to get it ready to close up the bag. So what I like to do is I like to iron the pieces one more time in order to make sure that everything is flat. Now you're going to need to pin down one interface and the exterior, but leave the interior pieces loose. And we're going to pin down just the exterior on top of the interface. And we're going to do that with both sides. Remember, leave the interiors by themselves. Now we're going to open the zipper and close both exterior pieces and then the interior pieces together. Make sure that they line up perfectly right here at the top. And then we're going to pin everything down and do the same thing to the other side. Line them up and clip it down. Make sure that they are straight. And now we're going to take the lining and clip those. If you have any excess, just trim it with the scissors. Now I like to take a ruler and make a line on where I'm going to be sewing, because sometimes this part is very important. You're gonna have to sew over the zipper, not the zipper teeth, but over the front of the zipper. I don't really know how to explain that. I hope you guys understand. But right here, I'm just gonna draw the line that I'm gonna sew and make it as straight as possible. You see this line? You're going to do one on one side and the line on the other side. You're not going to do it on the same sides because of how you sew it. It's not going to make any sense to just do one line on one side and the other line on the other side. Now where I'm going to attach the wristlet, I'm just going to draw a line 1 inch down, and that's where I'm going to put the little wristlet attachment. And we're going to take this and take it to the industrial sewing machine. Now I personally can't use the domestic machine because when I sew the pieces together, the stitches show on the side. So I've learned that you need to use an industrial machine to fully close the machine in order to hide the stitches on the side. Now, that may not be the perfect way, but that is the way that I learned. If I am doing something wrong and somebody else doesn't know a better trick, please let me know in the comments, because this has been a problem I've been having for years. But the only solution I found is to use an industrial machine. Now be careful when you're sewing near the zippers. You do not want to sew over zipper teeth, because then your needle will break. So make sure that you are very careful when it comes to sewing over the zipper. On one side I can sew all the way over because of the zipper tape, but on the other side I only sew up until the zipper. If you see here, I'm going to sew and then I'm going to stop where the zipper starts. I'm not going to sew over that piece. I'm going to go as close as possible and then backstitch. We're going to cut it off, flip the bag, and we're going to close the lining on that same side. And I'm going to sew up until the zipper as close as possible, but I'm not going to sew on top of the zipper. And the reason why I don't do this is because the machine cannot handle that and it starts to break needles, so I just avoid it. I sew as close as possible and then backstitch. Now we're going to take it and we're going to draw a line for the bottom where we're going to close the bag. I like to do it 7.5 inches long, but you can do whatever measurement you want. But for this project, we're going to do a line on both sides for 7.5 and then a line across, and that's where we're going to sew. If you notice there's some excess interface, that's okay. That's just the way that I do it. You don't have to do it that way. You can cut the pattern out exactly, but this is just the way that I learned. And then any extra, I just cut it off. Trim the edges. And now we're going to take the bag and we're going to flip it inside out. Now it's important before you close the bag to leave the zipper partially open so that when you flip it inside out, you have space to put your hand. Do not close the zipper. And then we're just going to flip it inside out. And this is the result so far, looking pretty good. And now let's just close up the inside of the lining. This is what it looks like inside. And we're going to take it and we're kind of going to feel with our hands. I'm sorry, I'm not a professional. I cannot tell you measurements, but I just know how to feel it. I'm going to line it up to the edge of the lining to where it hits the bottom of the clutch. And again, I apologize if I'm not explaining this formally, but this is just the tricks that I know. This is the way that I learned. We're going to fold the lining and then just sew it down and close it up. And this is the end result. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.